Yeah, we got this here, guys. So if you wanna like submit or upvote some questions last minute, we're doing a Reddit AMA. They asked us to do an AMA. Yeah, guys, I'm not gonna answer too much like game questions right now until we're done with the AMA. So let's just go through this. Let's see how many questions there are. A bunch actually, holy. Okay, so since I'm streaming, basically the plan is I will go through the questions. We basically just go from top to bottom, from like most upvoted to least or so, and maybe there's like some I skip because I might have like answered them already or something. And probably gonna just like, talk through them a bit and then just write a reply. So that's the plan for now. Yeah, of course I made all the questions myself. I made like 200 different alt accounts with random names. So I have like random name generator. Like this here. Fantasy name generator. Latest edition. Here, for example, Norman Sauerbruch and Erhard Stockmann. So you're gonna find all these there on this thread if you look closely. Maybe sometimes with like, 420, 69 added to it or so. These are all my alt accounts. Okay, let's see. So here's the intro. So basically I just wrote, I'm content creator, blasting, etc. Okay, so first question. If Rogue was not in the game, what class would I be playing? Well, if there was only 4 classes, I would probably play a druid for the start, but I want to play all of the classes. I mean, every ARPG always has like some kind of like fast, agile type of class, and this is usually what I play. So I played Demon Hunter in D3, I played Rogue and WoW for like a decade. So I always like these type of classes in general. And there would probably be something similar then if that was not the Rogue. I would probably play that. But if it was only 4 classes, it would be Druid, I guess, for a start. You'd be playing PoE. Yeah, I mean, I like PoE a lot as well. And I like D3 a lot as well. But I very much like D4 right now. So I'm very, very happy with the game overall. And the classes as well. I'm really quite excited to play all classes, I would say. I guess we're gonna just type the answers here while we're at it. I do want to play all classes still. Okay. Alright, let's go next. Hi Woody, just discovered your content with D4. Now they have hit 100. What are your goals in the game? Another tune or min-max your current one? Talking about my ribs. Oh man, that's... Well, I do have pretty high, like, goals, I guess, in general. So, of course, it's not just leveling to 100. I mean, for a lot of people, this might be a goal. For me, that was kind of like, you just do that and then you start other stuff, right? So, for example, pushing. I'm someone who pushes a lot in D3. I like pushing to greater than 250 or whatever is like the maximum my build can do. And this is really what I will also enjoy in this game, I'm pretty sure. I haven't really done too much pushing yet. But this is definitely something that is very interesting to do for me. Like this kind of like slow, strategic, very difficult content. I like that a lot. And of course, another tune. I mean, I'm gonna level all the classes. I plan also to get all classes to 100 before Season 1. With the RIP, I'm not sure if I can do that. Maybe I have to like cut back a little bit on this, because there might just not be enough time. But at least I want to play all classes to something like at least 70, 80. And then min-maxing is mostly done on the way to 100. I don't think there's really that much min-maxing to do afterwards right now in the game. It just doesn't have like that much post-100 content besides the live and some pushing, and most of the gear is acquired on the way. So it's probably fine. This is third 90. It's kind of funny, man. People that didn't get that I was actually like 100 and then 90 again and then 90 again. It's kind of funny. Okay, let's do this. Hello guys, by the way. What's a build I really had struggle pushing jars with? None really, to be honest, in D3. I mean, some builds are harder than others, but, then it'll be hard for everyone, so to say. I guess there's like some that have really high RNG factors, like Whirlwind and Mundunugu or so, but yeah, Mundunugu is probably the one that gave me the most trouble in my life. But it's a very fun build. I think so, that's what I... Okay, hey wudijo, congrats on the solo hardcore. I have 2 questions. 2 in 1, okay. Do you think that there are some viable undiscovered build variations or interesting interactions in the game? Maybe builds using rare uniques like Melted Heart of Select come to mind. How would you personally adjust vulnerability as a mechanic? I feel there are some builds that pigeonhole you into certain skills, glyphs. Would you make it more available on multiple skills, glyphs, item affixes, etc.? Would you remove it from its own bucket or something completely different? Okay, we talked about the vulnerability stuff a lot. So let's go with the first questions first though. So Melted Heart of Select does not seem to exist right now. In case you don't know, it's an amulet. Maybe I can show this real quick. In the plan, I think we might have it in the planner actually. Yes. Yeah, it's this amulet. So I have not heard of anyone finding this. So it might not exist right now, or it might be like this Omega, you know, T1 rarity like Harlequin Crest and Doombringer. So maybe it is in the game. But either way, it has been like massively nerfed. It's not really that powerful anymore. So I don't really think it's so crazy. It kind of enables an energy shield type playstyle. But yeah, it can buff like something like Bone Spirit a bit, or Hoda. But realistically, it's too weak to be really valuable offensively, I think. Especially if like really bad stats on top of that. So, but of course there's always potential for undiscovered builds being like really OP. I do have also some ideas for builds that I have not made a planner for or that I have really discussed yet. I guess there's always some stuff that can pop up, you know, with some maybe buggy or unintended mechanics, or with something that just like turns out to be completely busted with the right combo. So recently we have seen Blizzard Zork pop up, for example, that you might have seen with like Northwar's like 1 minute Lilith kill. So there's stuff like that for sure. And with the game evolving every few months, with like getting new items, new legendaries and uniques and whatever changes, there could always be insane builds coming up. And then the second question, the vulnerability, I would say, yeah, vulnerability is too mandatory right now. It's like too strong. Every class, every build needs to have it. If your build doesn't have vulnerability, it sucks. It's like not really an option. And even classes that have really big trouble proccing vulnerable have to use vulnerable because of how powerful it is. I think the best way to change it is to first of all take the exploit glyph, make it additive damage and not vulnerable damage. Number two, maybe make the entire vulnerable stats just roll less on items so that you don't stack like 300% anyway. And maybe vulnerable should be something like, you know, it starts at 20% and then with like full investment it goes to like maybe 100% or so. So it's not like day and night if you have it up or not. And you can potentially even think about builds that don't use vulnerable. So either lower than values or maybe change vulnerable stat to something like vulnerable effect. That was a good suggestion I've heard, where you take a base 20% bonus and then you multiply it, you know, with vulnerable effect to boost it to like maybe, you know, 30, 40, 50, whatever, through items. So I think that would be much more reasonable, and this would open up a lot more build choices, I think. Like right now, especially like Necros and Zorks, you know, you need to have a Frost Nova or something like that to like trigger it, and it's kind of bad. It really lowers the build variety. And of course there could be like other like power creep or buffs in other places to compensate for such a nerf. No, it's not additive with base. I mean the vulnerable damage is additive with the base, yeah, right now. So vulnerable damage, it starts at 20 and then every vulnerable damage you add is just like adding to the 20. So it becomes like some 300% multiplier or something. So it's like really crazy. Yeah, it's like way too powerful. Yeah, and like, you know, all the glyphs in the game, they are all additive damage. Besides the vulnerable glyph. And then the combat glyph, I guess, or like the crit damage glyphs for the core skills. Which is okay, it's fine to have different types of glyphs. But I think just the exploit glyph is like way too mandatory, and also like the exploit glyph proccing vulnerable by default, you know. I think that vulnerable is like really interesting mechanic, but the exploit glyph kind of ruins it, and the values are just making it way too mandatory. So yeah, let's put us here. With buffs elsewhere. Really think they need to split the damage buckets more? You mean like 20 million crits is not enough? How many zeros do you want to add? Let's enjoy the vulnerable big numbers before it gets nerfed. Yeah, I think a nerf is inevitable for vulnerable. Like, the way it works right now, it is really too oppressive in terms of, like, making a build. It would be really cool if, like, you know, it's like some kind of, like, you know, combat where, yeah, sometimes you proc it, or maybe sometimes you apply it, like, on purpose, and then you have, like, a nice damage buff, but it's not like, you know, you need to have it, else you do 0 damage, right? It's just, like, too much, like, day and night, basically, I think. Okay. What is the meaning, background of the name wudijo? Well, people ask me that regularly, actually. But, yeah, the answer is, I made the name up, like, very long ago. I think when D3 came out, I wanted a new nickname. I didn't like my old nickname. And I just decided I wanted something special. I wanted something, like, Chinese sounding with the wudi, because I was studying Chinese a bit, and I kind of enjoyed that. And it was just, like, I don't know, a random reason, basically. And then I made, like, some arbitrary set of rules to make a name. I wanted to have 3 consonants, 3 vocals, starting with a W, and then this came out. So that was the meaning. But I did learn later, that was actually coincidence, that wudi means invincible, which is, in Chinese, which is actually really a funny coincidence, I think, so I like that. And the Joe is just like, you know, it doesn't have any meaning. What about Chinese and Korean? Yeah, I can't read any Korean. I can recognize Korean, like I can distinguish Korean from Chinese or from the Japanese and stuff, because I studied Chinese a little bit. But yeah, I can't really read anything. But I think Korean is like much easier because they actually have like more like an alphabet, right? It's not like in Chinese where each word has like their own like sign, right? Anyway, top 3 builds for softcore, top 3 fun builds. That is like a upvoted question here. Oh man. I mean, well, part 1, check the max roll tier list. Part 2, Twisting Blade, Barrage, Rapid Fire. Easy, okay. Don't sleep on Penetrating Shot. Yeah, I mean, Rogue in general is just really cool. Maybe I should add that. Rogue is just awesome. Rogue in general is biz for fun. Let's do that. No Flurry. I haven't played Flurry and Pin Shot too much. Maybe I'm gonna enjoy them a lot. I mean, I do enjoy anything on Rogue almost, so since I played those builds, at least I can vouch, you know? It's an in-depth guide on the Barrage build. I did record it earlier, but then I got stuck in traffic for like an hour, and you're gonna see it tomorrow. What's on the chopping block for Season 1 nerfs? Interesting question. Not really too much, honestly, in terms of nerfing. I think that will happen right now. I could see like maybe like a bit of a tuning on Werewolf NATO, on maybe Rogue mobility in some way. Maybe they're gonna nerf the cooldowns a bit on Shadow Step and Dash. Maybe Bone Spear, maybe the infamous builds on Necro. Actually, Necro nerfs, man, can you imagine, guys? But it may happen. The vulnerable stuff in general, I guess. Maybe that's gonna bring everything down a little bit with a vulnerable change. But yeah, overall, I don't really see too much. Maybe Hoda gets a bit of a nerf. Yeah, they said the buffs are coming, so I think most of the nerfs that will happen have happened for now, and then, you know, if something pops up that is like really busted, I guess it will be adjusted. But overall, I don't really see too many nerfs coming right now. Don't touch the Wolfinator. A bit, Sedge. Yeah, I mean, realistically, I don't really think they're gonna do that, actually. I mean, Rogue is kind of like intended to be like a fast class, right? And people are already like crying about the Twisting Blade cooldown nerf. even though it didn't really do much. So yeah, if you like lower the cooldown, I think they already nerfed dash cooldown, right? I think from open beta to service time or something. I think they made it like longer cooldown and stuff. So really, I don't really expect too much here. And other classes go really fast in late game. Like some classes even go faster than Rogue. Like a fully decked out Sork in late game is probably faster than Rogue and probably a Barb as well. And maybe even a Druid. So generally, like classes really speed up later. I think it would be good if classes that are really slow in the early game would get a bit of boosted there, and maybe, you know, some power taken from like the legendaries and put more into the skills, so that it's just generally a bit faster, like especially Barb and Druid. I think they can, like, you know, move the power progression a bit towards the early game compared to the late game. But in general, yeah, Rogues kind of like start out fast and strong, and they just kind of like stay at the same speed or get maybe a bit faster, while other classes really catch up. So maybe it's not such a problem. Okay, what are my favorite and least favorite classes in D4? In order. Rogue, Druid, Sork, Barb, Necro. That was easy. The favorite dinosaur. Oh shit. What is that question? What is an Ankylosaurus? I don't know the names, man, of all these dinosaurs. I like the really big ones that eat plants. Like the Littlefoot type dinosaurs. What are they called? Diablosaurus. The long necks. Yeah, what are they called? Dinosaur. Long neck dinosaur. Are these the ones? Yeah, exactly. Those are the ones. But they do have like a cool name. Brachiosaurus. Is that one? Yes. I like those. They're chill, you know. They're just kind of there. They're eating the top of the tree. I like them. Why those rankings? Well, it was just like my favorite classes, so I just like them, you know. There's not really too much to say here. I just like the fast, agile stuff. And well, Rogue is very fast and agile, and Necro is the opposite of that. And that's about it. I mean, okay, Druid is kind of slow early, but Druid has like so much, like, you know, build variety and cool combos you can do. This is why I like them a lot. And then, yeah, it's mostly a ranking of speed, I guess. Holding a planet cool. They're called long necks. What? How many cucumbers did I eat during the first 1 to 100 blast? Not too many, actually. Didn't have many cucumbers lately. Okay, Brachiosaurus. Is that correct? Okay. The Druid variation comes from Tempest Throw, which is near impossible to get. Yeah, it seems relatively rare, right? It's kind of sad. Maybe they can like up the rarity a little bit, or like the you know, drop rate. That would be good. But it's not just that you need like this item for every Druid build, but it definitely opens up a bunch of like insane endgame combos. I missed the chance. Thoughts on the not fixing the Druid loot table? Yeah, that's gonna happen in the next patch, I guess. So, you know, some stuff is broken right now. If it's not Ankylosaurus, I'm done here. What is Ankylosaurus? Ah, yeah, also pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, the first one that came to mind are these guys. The long necks. So let's go with that. Kind of the opposite of a rogue, right? But okay. Dilophosaurus. What is that one? What the f... What is this? Okay. Looks very strange. Yeah, when I was young, I was watching some of these documentaries about dinosaurs and stuff, but I'm not a big like dinosaur enthusiast, I'd say. So I'm not really too familiar. Then the first Jurassic Park 1. Oh boy, man. That was like 20 years ago. Anyway, let's move on, guys. Say that almost all the rogue skills feel good and are viable except the rain of arrows. What would I change about that ultimate to bring it up to the others? That's an interesting question. And I talked about this. So I think number one, the animation should happen faster. Like the rain just comes so slow. And number two, the first wave needs to have the knockdown and not the second wave. Because if it's like a big panic button that you want to use for like, you know, a big fight, then you can't wait like 4 seconds for the knockdown to happen or something like that. Like you need to press the button and then, you know, everything needs to be knocked down and then maybe you can up the damage a bit, but that's okay. But the utility of it is just like so low because it has such a delayed effect. So that should just happen faster basically. And that's almost about it. Maybe you can bring down the cooldown a bit. Maybe not buff the damage, because the damage, especially with Word of Hakan, investment, and poison imbue and stuff, is actually kind of okay. It's just that you can use it so rarely, even with preparation. Now they nerfed Twisting Blade's cooldown, so you can't really do that so well anymore. So I think the cooldown needs to go down. Or it could maybe be tied into like a legendary item that has an effect like a cooldown reduction or something like that. So this is what I would say. But yeah, Rain of Arrows is really like the one big exception on Rogue. I just can't find a good use for it, besides making a Word of Hakan build of it. But any build that doesn't run Word of Hakan, it's generally better than a build that does run it. And cannot really use Rain of Arrows. So, okay. Yeah, the unique is great, but again, like, you know, even the Word of Hakan build, you know, you give up an amulet, and amulets are super powerful. And you don't really gain much out of it besides like some imbuement ranks. So, you know, it doesn't have cooldown, it doesn't have movement speed, it doesn't have energy cost. It doesn't really have like a good passive, I believe, on that. Like this amulet is just weak besides the imbuement ranks and the effect it has. But you also give up an, you know, an amulet offensive roll, for example, right? Amulet offensive roll is like easy 30% plus DPS or so. So, yeah. In general, Rain of Arrow needs a bit of a buff, especially cooldown, you know, just so I can use it more often. And that would be nice already. And then, you know, if they make the animation shorter, or if they make the first wave knockdown, you know, that would be great. The imbuement rolls from 1 to 3. Yeah, it's like 1 to 2, I think, and then you can upgrade it to 3. What did I say? The game needs to maintain interest past level 70 all the way to level 100. It feels pretty bare bones now. Yeah, I can see that. So especially for people that are like, you know, not too interested in like a long grind. Probably around level 70, level 80 is when you have like your full build together. And then it's just like, okay, you get a bit more paragons to give you a bit more damage and defense. And, you know, you min-max a little bit and that's about it, right? So at around 70, 80 is usually the point where your build is complete. With like, you know, your most important 1, 2, 3 glyphs and all the stuff you want to pick up, like legendary notes on paragons. You have all the gear, and then you just grind to 100. I totally agree with that. Personally, I'm not really bothered by it, but yeah, the game is probably intentionally relatively bare bones right now because they're gonna start adding a lot of stuff over time. So I can definitely see them like, you know, adding seasonal content that not only starts, you know, at level 1 and continues all the way to 100, but also maybe intensifies in some way and towards the later levels, or, you know, maybe there's like, you know, some harder tiers of content that they introduce in the later levels where, you know, you can kind of like challenge yourself already before level 100 and maybe get some cool rewards for that or so. Or, you know, maybe they're going to introduce more types of side content where you can break up the monotony. Like right now you have the option to do Helltide or Nightmare Dungeons, and well, the obvious choice is Nightmare Dungeons in almost every single case because Helltide has its own reason to exist for the Forgotten Souls, but it's not really like a main activity, so to say. It's just something on the side. You have to introduce more and more stuff that you can do on the side, like Helltide. You know, if there's like 5, 6 different types of content like that in like a few patches, let's say, then you do like a hell tide here, you do like a rift there, you do like some, you know, mega dungeon here, and then you do like, you know, an hour of nightmare dungeons, and then you repeat the whole thing or so. And I think that can be kind of like what makes it interesting, and like more variety, basically. More bosses. Yeah, I mean, the bosses will probably be all like level 100 stuff. Let's be real. So like pinnacle bosses and stuff. But, you know, maybe they could also have some scaling encounters, right? It doesn't have to be only like pinnacle bosses. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're still like at the start of the game. And yeah, it can feel bare bones, but that won't stay that way. So, you know, it's pretty obvious that the game is intentionally just like a, you know, kind of like a base, like a, you know, this is like where we start, and there's like so much opportunity to take that and add to it, basically. Yeah, more butcher-like bosses also that just break out the monotony, or, you know, maybe there could even be something like a random chance that like your entire dungeon is replaced with like another dungeon when you zone in, or, you know, something like that, right? Could be like some special encounter or whatever, right? So there could be crazy stuff they can do. So right now it's a bit monotonous, but over time you're not gonna see that cow level. Oops, all butchers. Yeah, man. Imagine that, man. A dungeon filled with butchers. A dungeon filled with goblins, you know? If there's like a 1 in 1,000 chance for that to happen, I mean, imagine. It would be cool, you know? If you run into it, like, uber butcher. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of things they can do. So I'm really excited to see what they will have in store for season 1, because that will probably kind of like, you know, set the bar a little bit. And it seems like they have big plans, so I'm quite excited. Now we have to put all of that into a written format somehow. I agree the grind becomes relatively monotonous after 70 to 80, where you have all of your legendaries, most of your gear, adding 2 items that are unique to Tree of Whispers activity, the Orb of Whispers and the Orb of Visions. The Orb of Whispers completely rerolls items, Orb of Visions rerolls the stat ranges. That would be kind of cool, yeah, like something like a Divine Orb. That would, like, imagine if they actually gave us something like a Chaos Orb as well. Like you have like a, you know, an 820 weapon base, and then you know, you throw this orb on it and maybe roll like really cool stats. I mean, I'm pretty sure that over time you're gonna get something like that. I think that would make gear acquisition and min-maxing, all that stuff like a lot more interesting. Like especially Divine Orbs as well. Right now you find an item and you're just like kind of stuck with it. And you know, these items could be like super rare. It would be fine if you find like 5 or 10 of them on the way to 100, you know. Like it would already be quite powerful, because as you level to 100, you do find a lot of good gear, but not everything, right? And if there was like more player agency to deal with your items, that would be definitely interesting. Okay. When you aren't playing D4 and making awesome content, what other hobbies do you like to focus on? Have you ever played disc golf? Wait, what the hell is disc golf? Frisbee golf. Wait, just like the disc, like the frisbee or what? Is it just a frisbee? No, it's actually like you have to like aim at a target like this. What the fuck is this? I've never seen this. Okay, so I have to like try to like hit the basket or what? Okay. So it's like you play frisbee with yourself, basically. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Okay. I mean, like frisbee. I mean, realistically, I don't really have time for hobbies besides, you know, blasting. So, I mean, at the very least right now, you know, like I wake up, I make like 2 or 3 YouTube videos, I start streaming, I stream for 10, 12 hours, I go sleep. Yeah, and maybe I can fit in a bit of Maxwell writing in there. So, this is my schedule right now. And that has been relatively similar for like the last months with like the preparations leading up to D4. I was basically just focusing on that. And here and there, maybe I was going out with Nini or so. Like, I don't really have any other hobbies right now. I don't really play other games for a hobby off stream or so. I did do that in the past, but this has long past that basically. So realistically, I'm fine with not having hobbies right now. I guess eventually maybe I'm gonna be at a point where I just take more time off here and there and, you know, try to maybe go out more. Or maybe get a bicycle again. I don't have one right now, but I'm a big fan of bicycle, like riding. I've done it a lot when I was younger. Yeah, other stuff. Yeah, basically just IRL stuff, but not really like too much sporty things, I guess. Yeah, right now it's the 4 time, and you know we're gonna focus on that for the most part. And I don't do anything else almost. How old am I? I'm 30. Disc golf is SSF frisbee. Yes. The wandern. Yeah, wandern is nice. Yeah, hiking. That's also good. But yeah. I mean, there's not too much reason to do that like alone. So if anything, if I have time, then I usually spend it with Nini because yeah, we spend way too little time sometimes. Do CrossFit. Yeah, I mean, like some kind of like workout or so would definitely be on the radar for me to do. Just to make sure that I also stay healthy and all that. It does help have some benefits. So not because I like it too much, but it's good to do. World Tier 5 brings 3 butchers at once. Need real life renown. Grind you. How would real life renown work? Do you have to go to like every single country in the world and, you know, grind certain objectives? What do you gain? I'm 30. Okay, next one. How do you feel about changing builds between D4 and D3? Took 1 click to switch from a farming build to a pushing build in D3, while now it's depressing, long, and costly for a simple thing to do. Well, I gotta say that you maybe have to like get away from this mindset that you have like a farming build and a pushing build, and you know, like you swap between them like every 2 seconds basically. Like I've not really done that at all. Like I did adjust builds on the fly and experiment and all that, and Diablo 4 has a really good way of allowing you to do that with like the individual point respecs that are also relatively cheap. So, you know, I never really had issues with like, experimenting with that. I do see that at level 100, if you want to make like an optimized speed farming build, it costs quite a bit, and then you want to do like an optimized pushing build, you have to respec for that. And then you want to do like a Lilith killer build, and you have to respec for that. But on the other hand, you know, something like Lilith, you're not going to do this like many times, right? You're going to respec to a Lilith build once, you fight her until you defeat her or you give up, and then you respec to something else again. And most of the time there's like, you know, 80% overlap between those builds anyway. So I don't really see such a big problem because it's mostly like some slight variations of a build that you do. If you want to switch to an entire build, like altogether, like a different one, then yeah, maybe it's a bit of a different story because you have to unspec all the paragons. So I think number one, we need to have like some unspec all paragon points option. That would make it a bit faster and easier to respec stuff because mostly what you respec is the paragons. The skill tree is not such a big deal. So yeah, I don't really think it's depressing or anything. Just make like an all-round good build and there you go. I think it's important to have this cost attached to respecking because else people would like, you know, make like an insane AoE setup and then just grind with that until they hit like a dungeon boss and then TP to town, switch the build to the boss killer setup, go in again, kill the boss, go out again, switch to the AoE setup. So this is a problem that needs to be prevented, and I think that D4 does it pretty well. I know that a lot of people ask for like some kind of like dual spec mode or some other like, you know, safe builds mode or so. But realistically, I don't really think it's such a problem. Like you just play a build, and especially if you know your way around the paragons and the skill trees well, then you just set up a build once. It takes like, you know, half an hour, and then you play it for I don't know how long, and then you do that again. I don't really have like an issue with that at all. Yeah. Yeah, maybe respec a whole board at a time would also be interesting. Yeah, respec all paragons at once. There could be like some options for quality of life for sure. For example, like we have in the Maxwell planner, right? Where Maybe they could make like some kind of like editing mode, so to say. So if you look at this here, right, when you have like the paragons, and then, you know, maybe you can have some mode where, you know, you can move them around and you can like rotate the entire thing. And then as long as, you know, you create like some viable setup that, you know, is like according to the rules, it would allow you to save this, and like only then you can confirm the choices and you have your setup, you know, and then you like, you know, okay, confirm, and then this is the new build. So if you have something like this in-game, that would be perfect, I think, because it would really speed up the respecking. And the cost is overall okay. It's like 10 million for like an entire respec of everything, which is not really too much. You found that in like an hour until level 100, so the cost is kind of whatever, I think. And before level 100, it costs even less. So like that. Just look gear while in dungeon, like in a Great Rift. They can do that as well, but it would also feel a bit weird, right? Like, you find loot in a dungeon, and then... I mean, right now, without like a real pushing mode, like a leaderboard mode, I think locking your gear in dungeons would be really bad. So maybe if there's like some dedicated, like, you know, leaderboard push mode where there's no loot and stuff like that, maybe not even a cost for the sigils, I mean, that would be okay. Then you can lock it in, basically, at the start of the run. But for, like, how the game works right now, you know, you want to pick up the loot, you want to check it out, etc., right? So... that could be easily solved by the devs. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what they do. It's just, like, what I think, you know, like... I don't, like, personally, as I said, like, this whole, like, armory stuff, yeah, people are used to it from D3, but I think it just makes not too much sense in D4. So... the thing is also, it's much more about the items. Like, it's not so much about, you know, adjusting a few points back and forth, you know, to make, like, your push setup into, like, a farming variant or something like that. You know, usually this is done very easily with respecking. But the real hard part is the items. You need to have the items saved up in your stash and all that, and... you know, you have to actually find those items, you have to roll those items, you know, this is like the difficult part there. But yeah, anyway, let's go next. Diablo 4 has a solid fanbase on which developers can build on. What are the top 3 features you would like to see added to Diablo 4 over the next year or two? Ooh. The top 3 features? Well, number 1 would be that I actually get my glyph upgrades at the end of a nightmare dungeon. That would be great. Nah, but... what could they add? I mean, they could, yeah, trading. Like, I mean, like some kind of like trading platform of some sort would definitely be nice to have in game. Pets that pick up stuff, bigger inventory. And bigger inventory is not exactly a feature. I guess it's just like a buff or so. Party finder. A lot of people request party finder. That's true. Filter. Yeah, number 1 is definitely a filter, I'd say. Yeah, pets, I can see pets coming back, but I don't see pets having like a gameplay impact. I mean, what would they even do, you know? So, yeah, maybe they're gonna allow pets, but just cosmetic pets, basically. Yeah, leaderboards we know are coming, but maybe I can like also answer about this. Yeah, leaderboards, like they said they're gonna make them, but only in Season 2 or something. So that will be a while, and I would really like to see like a big variety of leaderboards. So not just Nightmare Dungeons and that's it or so, like in D3 for example. Like I would also like to see like conquest type leaderboards, you know, like fastest campaign clears, you know, the first Uber Lilith kill, you know, or like the first 1000 Uber Lilith kills, and you know, the first 1000 to reach 100, the first 1000 to clear tier 100, you know, stuff like that basically. Like a conquest type leaderboards from D3 are really good. Crafting for sure. There needs to be more crafting. Yeah, I think... okay, number 1 is loot filters. Loot filters needs to happen, and soon. The amount of trash loot at high levels is daunting. I want to feel happy seeing an item flash up in a different color based on my choices once in a while, instead of looking through 1000 items and just vendoring them all. Leaderboards. I'd like to see a great variety of different goals here. Obviously, Nightmare Dungeon pushing is included, but also other stuff like conquests in D3 would be amazing. You have to complete a certain milestone or challenge. For example, first 1000 Lilith kills, first 1000 people to 100, first 1000 people to do XYZ, etc. per season. The possibilities. Even like farming based objectives. Most legendaries found within 1 hour could be cool. Okay, number 3. What will be number 3 feature? Trading, like real trading in game. Currently, you can neither find nor sell items without third-party sources. A platform in-game could solve that. So I think maybe those 3 features for now. And I think over the next year or 2 it sounds like a reasonable timeline for all of these. I think all of this can happen quite soon actually. Trading crowns to test your builds. Yeah. Do we really need that? You can trade gold, by the way. A PoE ninja-like leaderboard would be good for D4. I guess we could also need like an API that actually pulls data from the game, right? I'm not sure like how well that can be done right now. But yeah, anyway. What is my favorite change from the dev stream? The Squad of Escape finally working in Season 2. I would say. So what did they say? They said that buffs are coming, but they don't know specifics. They said they're gonna make it so that you don't have to travel to Nightmare Dungeons, which, yeah, I'm mildly happy with, but I'm also mildly unhappy with. So it's a bit of a mixed feeling there. And then, I mean, the buffs to Nightmare Dungeons is nice, because I feel like that this whole meta with people just farming normal dungeons is really stupid. I have not been doing that at all, and I'm very happy that I didn't. But I think that, yeah, people kind of like having a bigger incentive to do Nightmare Dungeons is a great thing. But realistically, I care about the Squad of Escape actually protecting you from the disconnect death and hardcore. You can instant TP when you want to blast and run the dungeons when you want the atmosphere. Yeah, I do agree with that. You have the option to TP, you're not forced to TP. And if they actually make it so that you actually have a reason to do the travel, you know, if there's like some good stuff you can find on the way, like, you know, you do an event there, you do like some seasonal thing there, you know, if the overworld is actually like rewarding enough so that you maybe want to run there, that would be nice for sure. Escape. Okay. Two drops are bugged, yeah. Okay, what is that? Have you ever met other Maxwell dudes in real life? Yes, I'm a fellow German. I have met Alex, who was the Maxwell CEO. I was going to meet also SVR and Rob and some other guys back at TwitchCon like 2020 or something, 2019. But I didn't go in the end, like last minute. So outside of that, I have actually not met anyone in real life yet. So maybe at some point, you know, I could imagine that eventually we're gonna have like some kind of like, you know, meetup, or maybe I'm gonna see them at something like Gamescom, BlizzCon, who knows. At least some of them. That would be cool. I'll be very excited. Like I hang out with the guys, you know, like every Saturday we have our meetings. Like just this Saturday we sat there for 5 hours, and of course, you know, I like them, so they're all like really cool guys. But yeah, not really, unfortunately. I met Icebird, yeah, that's true. Not one of the Maxwell boys. What's the end game now? What is the question here? And it's also upvoted a few times. Each Saturday we mean a podcast. No, we have meetings. Like we talk about, you know, the content that we're gonna write, what has been done, you know, the tier lists, you know, any kind of changes you want to do. So that's what we do on the Maxwell meetings. So I mean, right now they're really long, 44, because, you know, like game is out, you know, stuff develops very quickly right now, and you know we have to push out those guides. I mean, usually, like for example in D3, after some time we kind of were at a point where we didn't need to have meetings like every single Saturday anymore. So after Maxwell D3 was out for like a year or something, then for example at the season start we wouldn't have meetings for like 2-3 weeks, and then we would come together again and, you know, see what has happened and if anything needs updating. And then usually during PTR times we would do like regular meetings again. So, you know, like that. But right now in D4, of course, you know, with the fresh game, there's like so much to do. Like we have really long meetings every single Saturday. Would be a cool podcast though, yeah. I mean, the meetings are really fun. There's also like a lot of back and forth sometimes with like, you know, especially tier list discussions and stuff that we do right now. That's kind of cool. Maybe there are some softcore players. Yeah, most of them are softcore actually right now. I know Echohack plays hardcore, but I think outside of Echohack and me, there's no one else on Maxwell right now. I'm not sure about Dark Humility. Dark Humility was a big hardcore player in D2. So me maybe doing hardcore. SVR is holding a grudge. Hey SVR, by the way. How often are tier lists updated? Right now, every Saturday. I mean, whenever there's something to update, you know, like right now new builds get discovered, and you know, balance patches happen and all that. So was TwitchCon 2019? Okay, SVR knows. 2019, before Maxwell even existed. Will Maxwell get a Discord bot or webhook? We have some suggestions, so you can just leave some feedback. You already quit it. Sorry, SVR. What's the endgame now? Complaining about nerfs on Reddit. Okay. What's your personal class tier list? What's your favorite breakfast meal? Interesting. I mean, my personal tier lists, I think, okay, ranking classes overall, not much has changed since pre-launch, but everything has moved closer together than before. Back then, my ranking was Druid, Barb, Sorg, Rogue, Necro. where right now I would swap Rogue and Sorg. But that doesn't mean any class is bad, or even some of the lower classes can have some pretty busted builds, e.g. Bone Spear, Infamous, Necro are extremely potent. The top classes simply offer more variety of good builds right now. Breakfast, I mean, it's not really much to say. I like Nutella. Bread. You say bread with Nutella, I guess. What do you think is the best team comp for the highest tiers of Nightmare Dungeons? Oof. Yeah, I mean, haven't really done like any group play that much. I think like support druids are really powerful. So that could be definitely be something to just make everyone super tanky. Nutella bread and blasting nightmare sigils, yes. Nutella bread is S tier. Okay. I think support druids should be included. They're really good. Other than that, this really needs a lot of time to be explored. Many compositions are thinkable, depending on which classes you put in there. There's not really that much to say. I mean, we don't have any kind of idea of group meta and stuff. Do you believe the secret cow level already exists in Diablo 4? That's a good question. People are trying to hunt the cow level, right? Question is, have they hidden? Is it possible that they have hidden some files that we have no idea about in the data mine? Maybe. I'm not sure like how that works exactly. They found a dung for it. They are close. Yeah, I think it's possible. So far, there's no evidence. Would be cool though. Maybe it requires a certain puzzle to be solved to access it. Something that you can only do very rarely, but it's really awesome. Would be great. There's clues everywhere. PS Moo. There's a bunch of evidence it exists. There's even a screenshot of someone that got into a secret cow cellar, but he did it in a shady way. Oh, really? Interesting. Okay, maybe I'm just gonna say, so far, I've not seen evidence. Let's just say that. Shady waves of packet injection. Okay. There's a data mined evidence of quests leading to secret level. Yeah, I mean, maybe they have something like this. Maybe it's already in the game, or maybe they're kind of like preparing for something, and yeah, it's gonna like, you know, slip it in somewhere, you know, among some other patch, and maybe someone's gonna realize. Who knows, right? I think it would be cool if like the cow level would be You know, not something that just like pops up all the time. Like in D3, we had like the cow rift, right? Where like every 100 rifts you would just open a cow level. Yeah, it kind of became boring after a while, right? But maybe if it's like something that actually is like maybe really rewarding in some way, and you go there like, once or twice, on the way leveling to 100. Maybe that you have to like do something special, you have to find like a special drop to access it or whatever. That would be kind of interesting, But yeah, anyway. Did I enjoy doing it? The tier 100 grind? Level 100 grind? Oh yeah. I mean, that was really fun, man. That was like one of the coolest blasting sessions I've done, I guess. I slept quite little. So from launch until I was level 100, I slept like something like 4 or 5 hours each night. And unfortunately, I didn't really catch much sleep before that as well, because I was just like, writing Maxwell guides all day long, making videos all day long. In the week before that as well, before launch. So I was like kind of exhausted already when we started. But I somehow survived, so that was good. But it was really fun, yeah. The first grind to 100, man, that was super fun. That was so cool. And yeah, it somehow worked out, despite a few close calls and all. But yeah. It was one of my greatest blasting sessions so far. Also, I had tons of support from my Twitch chat, where people were following the race and cheering me on, which was amazing. I still got around 4 or 5 hours of sleep per night, which is okay for a few days. Now I'm back to normal. I really enjoyed exploring the whole game and the Twisting Blades rogue. I should add that maybe. Thank you guys, by the way. And then of course the follow-up Lilith attempt, man. That was really cool. Do bring us in the game, man. What's my favorite beverage? If you could buff a single skill in any class, which would you choose? Oh, a single skill in any class. Oh boy. Might have to think about that one. My favorite beverage? I mean, honestly, if I don't drink water, maybe I have a Coke here and there, but that's about it. So I usually just drink water. Which skill could really need a buff? Some blood skills on Necro maybe? Something like Iron Skin on Barb maybe? Rain of Arrows? Hurricane? What else could we buff? Incinerate? I don't really want to buff Incinerate, to be honest, man. It's a channeling skill. I mean, it's okay if the Incinerate is kind of like fine, but I do not want to incentivize people to stand still. Fire stuff for Sorg, Hydra, Meteor. These are not like that terrible. Like, I think the worst offenders are like cool skills that just suck. Let me see. We go on planner again. Wait, do we have it open here? Here's the planner. What? I just removed the URL, but it still shows this setup. That's interesting. But yeah, on Rogue, that's basically only that. Barb, Druid. Cataclysm is also kind of weak. I feel Lacerate could need a buff. Rabies. I think the rest is kind of fine. Maybe we should go for core skill. Like, what is like the weakest core skill that really doesn't have any use? Upheaval is kind of cool and it's really weak, I think. Necro. Yeah, I mean, I like the blood stuff, but they're all both not really great. That could be something. And Sorg. Frozen Orb, maybe. I've actually not heard of anyone playing Frozen Orb. Is anyone playing Frozen Orb? It's such a cool skill, actually, but I feel like it's just way too weak. Maybe it's not really popping off. Bloodlands. You need so much mana. You're playing F-Orb. Effing Orb. Yeah, I think Sorg might just get like some all-round buffs. Maybe they're gonna make like some, you know, some improvements there on like a few things. Core or Claw? Yeah. Nah, Claw is fine. Claw has like the item, the crown and all that. Maybe they could buff basic skills across the board. I think basic skills should be like better in late game. The thing is that they're like really useless in late game, and it would be nice to like have the option to actually deal a bit of damage with your basic skill and stuff like that. Maybe that would be something. Skill buffs. If I had to choose only one, I'd take, what did we say? Frozen Orb? Frozen Orb, because it's badass and nostalgic. Generally, I'd like to see some scaling options for basic skills so that they don't become entirely useless after level 20. Let's go with that. Music is a bit loud. Well, when the bangers are playing, what can I do? Alright. What game do I credit with getting you into ARPGs and dungeon crawlers? Oh, that's simple. My first one was Diablo 2. When I was like 10 years old or something. I played Diablo 2 on like a LAN party. I saw someone playing Diablo 2 on a LAN party once. Like, it was like a LAN party based on like Age of Empires and Counter-Strike and Warcraft and stuff like that. And there was like this one guy playing Diablo, and he showed it to me, and I got it from him. So this is probably was this one guy playing Diablo 2 at a LAN party back when I was like 11 or so. Got it from him and tried it out afterwards, which is when I started playing RPGs. But back then I was still mostly playing stuff like Age of Empires, Counter-Strike, Quake, I guess as well. What else do we have back then? Need for Speed. And lots of variety stuff. I only later tons of WoW. After some time, I focused a lot more on P3 when it came out. And RPGs in general, especially PoE. Now almost entirely on that genre. So like that. Never really leave RS. DAOC. What is DAOC? Dark Age of Camelot. I didn't play that. Neither did I play RuneScape. My first MMO was WoW, and I stuck to WoW for like a long time. So I think I've played more WoW than Diablo 3 actually. So I was a pretty big blaster in WoW. So yeah. Okay, what else do we have? Is SSF the way to go for making this game actually competitive? What changes would you like to see to make the game more competitive? Yes. SSF is like the only way to make a real competitive mode because, you know, party is just like so much stronger in every single way. With trading, with like resetting dungeons, with teleporting to each other, with resetting instances, with like party buffs, you know, not even party buffs included, right? More XP and more and the synergies and all that you can create. So SSF is only really the way to make a competitive ARPG. So we need like some kind of like SSF mode or at least an SSF tag or something like that so we can do that. And what changes would I like to see? Well, leaderboards, SSF mode. Oh, we got a question from SUR here, I see. We're gonna go on that in a second. Okay. SSF is absolutely the way to go and must have. At some point, party play offers too many advantages over solo play, so that most people would be automatically excluded from having a chance in a competition. And even those that party up would have very unequal chances because people can feed items or even dungeon completions to a single player, etc. I think we don't need dedicated SSF servers. Maybe I should explain that here, solo self-found for those that don't know the term. But at least something like an SSF tag. When you create the character that forbids grouping plus trading until you decide to break up with the SSF would be amazing. That means that if you already have SSF, why bind stuff to your account outside the SSF? Well, basically the way I imagine SSF, as I just wrote here, is that it should be like, you know, you make an SSF character, but it doesn't have to stay SSF. You can still decide to go group at any time, but then you're out of SSF. So, you know, stuff that you find should still be account bound. I mean, like, do you want to lift the trading restrictions? I don't think so. I mean, there still should be like, you know, like it's still like a safeguard of like, you know, RMT in some way and, you know, all that stuff. So even for group players and traders, there should not be like full open trading. I think that's probably going to be too crazy. I think the fact that you have to play the game and actually grind up some stuff yourself is kind of good. Okay, let's see the SVR question here. A couple of questions, oh boy. We will get to see on an offline event. And why have I not attended any? The answer is probably yes. I would definitely like to go to BlizzCon, maybe Gamescom. I'm not sure about TwitchCon, maybe. Why have I not attended them? Mostly because either it's too expensive or not enough time or bad timing. But especially BlizzCon would be really cool, I think. This is like an event that's definitely worth going to, I guess. But yeah. Favorite season in D3? Why was it season 6? Do. My favorite season, I'd say, was probably season 3 with the Natalia meta. Natalia, Reign of Vengeance was really cool. I did enjoy the first season in general because there was a lot of changes in D3 and a lot of different metas and a lot of different builds I enjoyed. I also really enjoyed some of the later seasons, like season 24, season 25, Season 28, actually the current one. They were all really cool seasons as well. So hard to really choose a favorite. Who's the most underrated chronic creator in the Diablo community that simply deserves more of a voice, following, and acceptance? Oh, that is a tough choice, man. There's actually a bunch of like smaller creators that say that I really like, that are a bit underrated. I mean, a bunch of our Maxwell guys, for sure. Who's outside of Maxwell? It's hard to really give like the one name for this, I gotta say. But yeah, I just wish that a lot of people will like grow more now with the game and with the following that Diablo 4 in general has. And I see that, you know, numbers are going up for a lot of people. So that's really cool to see that there's like, you know, just more of a community and like, you know, a wider range of creators. Especially in Diablo 3 where I was like the last years, like there wasn't really much going on, right? So we had like a few big names and then that was it. And like a few smaller guys that were also like around somewhere. And now it's like so much more diverse. There's so much more going on, so much more content that people can do, and like ways for people to establish themselves. So I'm really excited to see that. Don the Crown. Yeah, I saw some of his stuff. I mean, I don't really watch anyone. That's the thing. Like, I try to kind of keep an eye on like, you know, who's there and stuff, but you know, I don't have time to watch anyone. Also, people always ask me, have you seen this video? Have you seen that build? No, guys, I have not. I literally do not watch anyone. So, yeah, like, it's just like very hard to keep up, basically, because I'm just busy all day, all day, every day, basically. But yeah. Yeah, I'm just blasting, exactly, like... I have seen No Further Lift Kill. Yeah, that was a good one. But anyway, I suggest you go on Maxroll, you go on Diablo 4 team, and you drop a follow on every single one of those guys. That's what I suggest. Why does ChatGPT tell me my real name is Danny Ray J. Sai? Have you been lying to us all these years? I think you should evaluate your life choices if you use ChatGPT for these kind of questions. What's your favorite community, project, event, dead or alive, and why? Oh, my favorite community project. Oof. I guess to some degree something like D3 Planner or so. I mean, I guess it's like kind of more commercial stuff, but yeah, what are we talking about with the community project? I mean, I did the Season 28 event in D3. That was really fun. That was like a community project, I guess. I mean, there were similar events like that way in the past in D3. And I would really like to see like more of these like community events, like, you know, races, challenges, you know, kind of like fun stuff with or without prizes. It doesn't really matter. I would definitely like to see some stuff like that because it's just fun, you know. It kind of like gives you like a goal and gives like people like kind of like a fresh start, something to participate in, something to follow, and you know, even just watch. So we definitely need more like that, and that I don't really have like a specific one in mind. And do you remember the time Blizzard learned the hard way that formatting clear time as MMSS SSS on the leaderboards is not sufficient? Wait, what is that screenshot? Oh. Oh, I remember that time, yeah. You guys remember that time? If you don't know this screenshot, this was, oh man, how long ago was that? I think this was challenge rate number 39 or something like that. Way back, you know, like 5-6 years ago or something. So what happened here is that there is like a weekly challenge rift where the game selects one rift of one random player with certain restrictions, and then this is like a challenge rift that anyone else can try to beat for that week. And one time it selected my rift. I did a graduate 45 on like day 1 of the season start for a conquest, which was like a challenge to do like tier 45 with no set items, and it selected my run. and almost no one could beat it. So you see here, like rank 118 needed 39 minutes for this run, and the maximum clear time you are allowed to have is 15 minutes in this game. And I needed something like, I don't know what it was, 6-7 minutes or so for this run. So my clear, you had to beat the original clear time of 6.5 minutes, let's say. And well, some people needed more than an hour apparently. 1 hour 43. That was kind of funny. So maybe they're just really fast, guys, but for some reason they're displayed at the bottom of the leaderboard, you know? It's actually at 1 minute, trust me. Is the video on the Rift? I don't have it on my YouTube anymore, but I know a place where I can find it, because I know Norfor has beaten it. Sergey said YouTube. Is it here? No. Is he like at Northwar? Ah, here. By the way, subscribe to this YouTube channel. He's almost at 1,000. He's making funny memes. And here, EU Challenge Rift number 36. That was mine. Yeah, here's a video of beating it. Yeah. I had a really funny video where I did my own Challenge Rift on stream when it rolled over the week, and I woke up and I had like 1,000 messages in my inbox of people like telling me, is this your Rift? I can't beat it. And then I started my stream and I did it first try again. And people were so mad. It was so good. Oh man, that was a classic, man. Yeah, that was good times. 1 year ago, aware. Yeah, Norfi needs to produce some memes here. Like, where's his Lilith kill? And stuff like that. But anyway. Okay, let's reply this here very short. I'd like to attend, especially BlizzCon. Maybe Gamescom. Not sure about TwitchCon, but we'll see. I haven't been there in the past due to cost, timing, but that may change. Okay, 2. I loved most seasons I played, which was almost all besides some in the middle of the lifespan. Especially liked the first 6 and the last 7, 8, 9 seasons. Favorites probably S3 and S25. Okay, most underrated content creator. Go to max roll before team page and drop a follow on all of the guys. Outside of that, unfortunately, I don't really know all too much about what's going on, as I never have time to watch anyone. Reevaluate your life choices. My favorite community project event, dead or alive, and why. I like community events like races, challenges, you see, be it with or without prizes. Great way to break up a season with a fresh start and some cool stuff to do. Good times for the uninitiated. Challenge Rift number 36 in Diablo 3 was my Rift, which almost no one managed to beat. Good times. You're welcome as we are. Okay, we've been here for a while already. Let's try to speed this up a bit. We have so many questions. But let's do a few more, for sure. The 5 most important fixes, changes for the game to increase its longevity. I think, number 1, more activities in endgame. E.g. similar to Helltide. Similar scale, maybe similar scale of Helltide through seasonal content. Quality of life. Fixes. Leaderboards. And endgame challenges. I mean, 5 fixes is a lot. I think these 3 are probably the top, at least. I'm not sure if I would add a lot more right now. Balancing of builds and group versus solo. I think this can definitely be disheartening. Like especially the solo stuff. Yeah, I like Helltide. And exactly, I want more stuff like Helltide, you know, stuff that you can farm here and there, and it's kind of nice, you get some nice reward, but it's not like, you know, required or something like that too much. So it's just something you do here and there, right? Just to like, you know, break out the monotony of the dungeon grind. So that's like what's really cool. Better early game balance and progression so that some classes don't feel awful for new players. I think this is probably like the last point I would add here. Alright. Been watching you since the 3-hour ass. Huge props. Where do you live? And what are you doing for a living if streaming wasn't a thing? Well, I was at university. I was studying politics and economics. And I would probably be some kind of like, yeah, I would maybe be something like, you know, EU agencies or maybe some NGOs or something like that. Or maybe like, you know, I would maybe aim for something like some international company. I don't know exactly, like what I was studying was like relatively broad, and the things I could do afterwards would be relatively broad, so I would kind of like adjust, I guess, depending on where I go. Other than that, I live in Varna in Bulgaria right now. Before that I was in Athens for like the last 2 years. Before that I was in Munich for like half a year. Yeah, I come from Germany, so UN. Yeah, UN would be kind of cool. I was actually considering that. There's some UN like arm or something. What do you think about politics and economics in the 4 world? Well, everyone kind of does what they want. They slaughter each other. Yeah. It's not a good place to be a politician, I guess. Okay, I live in Varna, Bulgaria since around 3 months ago. For that, Athens for 2 years. For that, Germany, my home country. Without streaming, I'd be working probably at some political institution. I was aiming for UN or Brussels. Institution. I studied politics and economics. Why did I move to Bulgaria? Yeah, it's like relatively similar climate. We're at the sea, relatively cheap, good taxes. We have good internet connection. So I moved here because we couldn't find something in Greece where we had good internet. So we started looking outside of Greece after like looking at literally like hundreds of different apartments. So yeah, that's why. Else I would be in Greece. Would make builds for the EU Commission. Yeah, exactly. How am I coping with the amount of viewers increase and popularity? Yeah, that was really crazy. I mean, just in like the last 3 weeks or so, I've doubled my followers on Twitch. I was like at like 120 or 130k. Now we're like 270. And also like on YouTube, I got like 50k in new subs. I was at 100. I just hit 100k exactly a month ago. And now we're at 150k. It's pretty crazy. I mean, the numbers are definitely insane for the compared to the normal. I did have some episodes of like high viewership. For example, season starts. Sometimes I would go to up to like 10k or something, but obviously that wasn't like such long-lasting high viewership. I mean, I'm just very happy that everyone is here. Everyone is enjoying it. So thanks for the support, everyone. It is definitely quite humbling to see so many people here, and yeah, I'm glad that people like it. That's all I can really say. So it's definitely a bit overwhelming with like the amount of questions and, you know, the repetitiveness of questions sometimes. But I mean, this will subside, I guess, over time, and I'm used to it, so it's all good. So let's put that here. Crazy lately. Roughly times 2 on Twitch and YouTube followers during the last month. Had some episodes with very high viewership, e.g. on the season start, but not as big and consistent as now. Just support and that people enjoy the content. I'm excited to see where we'll go from here. Start an OnlyFans. Yeah, soon, guys. Soon, TM. Do I consider going into politics in a couple of years? I don't know, maybe after a content creator career, who knows, in a decade or two. But for now, we're focusing on this. So, I mean, you can always go into politics whenever you want, basically. So, maybe. Also, my favorite and least favorite things about Diablo. My favorite video game of all time. My favorite activity that doesn't involve gaming. Okay, I mean, we answered some of these questions a little bit, so I'm going to do this quickly, I guess. So, my favorite thing in D4 is the combat. Combat is by far the best in ARPG in D4 out of all ARPGs I know. Least favorite is... what is the least favorite, actually? What do I really not like? The UI, quality of life right now. Let's go with that. My favorite video game of all time? D3 or WoW? How to say? I mean, those are at least the ones I played the most. I mean, there are some games I really enjoyed, but they were like really short and kind of like done, and I didn't really want to like play them again, I guess. So... stash, inventory management. Yeah, I guess it's like all quality of life, I guess. So... then we have... my favorite video game, I would say... I would just say D3 and WoW are the ones I played the most by far. But I did also enjoy a bunch of others a lot for a short time. Maybe I can mention Bioshock Infinite, for example. Faster Than Light. Elden Ring come to mind. My favorite activity that doesn't involve gaming. Riding bicycle. Now I don't own one, though. Yeah, Path of Exile is really cool. Considering that I might have encountered first some boss challenges and probably faced some bosses without any information, what were the bosses situations where you were taken off guard and almost died? I almost died. Okay, I had 3 close calls on my first rogue. A goat, big goat man smacked me down with the axe because I was tired and too slow to dodge. Almost one-shot me at level 49. Then I was perma frozen for like 15 seconds, barely made it out with like 7 cold enchanted elites on me. And the last time was a goatman again. Must one-shot me with lightning champions demise. 2 and 3 took me by surprise, for sure. Regular bosses and monsters, not so much. Okay. Yeah, cold enchanted affix is really tough. I think it needs a bit of tuning. Streamer split in half by thick goatman. Oh man. Okay, what are your thoughts on the current state of build diversity? Extremely good. And with a few buffs, it will improve even more. Generally, the default team identifies exactly the right places for buffs and nerfs, and I'm impressed by their accuracy so far. Yeah, I think they're doing a really good job. How many more hours do you think you'll have to play to get one of those insanely rare uniques like Doombringer or Shaco? I have level 100 Sofka Rogue and I do not think I see either item anytime soon. Well, if we divide average amount of hours played by the amount of Shaco Doombringer drops, we arrive at roughly 1 per 200 million player hours. Good luck. Okay. On a scale from 1, I didn't care about that, to 10, I constantly thought about it and was very afraid. How scared were you dying during the 100 race? Also, 1 to 10, how scared were you of your character dying? Oh my god, lol. IL 0. In-game 2. Did have 3 intense moments. Near-death moments. Oh. Okay, it's pretty simple. Okay. No questions, just wanted to let you know I love your content. Aw. Give it an upload. Okay, should we like refresh once and see if there's like some new questions? Because like most of these don't actually upvote. So let's do like a refresh here. And see if we missed something. Oh, here's a guy with like some Chinese lore here. Look. Invincible wine with invincible uncle. Wudi is literally translated as unrivaled or unmatched. Ah, here you go. That's kind of cool. Okay, so have we answered all of them? I see like many answers here. Here's something. Did you find windfalls yet on my rogues? I knew that question would come. Have you tried to free craft one into a build? Also, Cyber Fire bow build, good. Been thinking about rolling bow rogue. Okay, that's like a very specific. Windforce equals straight to the vendor. But fire is sick. I have a guide on it. Alright. That was easy. Sis touched on this, but do you believe streamer builds stifle experimentation and build variety? Are you in fact your own worst enemy and of the community? I'd say people that want to experiment will do so. People that don't want to will look builds up. I don't think streamers are a problem on that end. And the game is designed to allow a massive amount of choices and customization. I think with the way legendaries, skill trees, and paragons work, you can always find your own way, even with an otherwise similar build, which is amazing. I can think of dozens of ways to combine skills on any class into a whole new experience. You found a great aspect combo on your rogue that you're not telling anybody because you don't want it nerfed. Good luck. What about Quinn builds? Yeah, I didn't mention like effective builds, I guess. There are many build-defining unique items in the game with no real trading with other players. Do you think there should be some way to work towards specific uniques? Ah, yeah, of course. Otherwise, RNG will decide for you. Yeah, I think absolutely there should be target farming in the game. Absolutely, the game needs some form of target farming for uniques and legendaries. Right now, it's just lottery, and that feels bad if you don't win. I don't like divination cards in PoE, but they do solve that problem really well. So maybe we can get some form of that in D4. Or other methods like higher chances for X, Y, Z in place. Stuff like that. Yeah, I think target farming definitely needs to happen. Unnecessary comma. Oh no, dude. I'm gonna remove it. Can we really get Shaco? Well, someone can. Aren't monster families kind of target farming? Well, they are good to get like bases, but they're not good to get uniques. I mean, first of all, people need to learn like which monster families drop what. And then again, like you can only really target farm certain monster families in non-Nightmare Dungeon content. And you don't really want to do non-Nightmare Dungeon content, especially in like 2 weeks from now when they patch the game and buff Nightmare Dungeons. So target farming with that is kind of like out of the question. So we need like proper target farming, you know, you need to have a certain way to acquire a certain unique, you know. You need a Tempest Roar for your Druid build to work. Well, then go there, do this until you get it, you know. So this is what we need. So else, yeah, people are gonna have level to 100 and not gonna get what they want. You can in Helltide. Yeah, that's a joke, man. I've done a lot of Helltide. I have hundreds of Forgotten Souls. I found one unique in Helltide. One. Yeah. Forget about it, man. Yeah. Your mileage may vary. Yeah, of course, your mileage may vary, but yeah, the thing is that you don't even have a good way of target farming in Helltide, you know? Each Helltide has like maybe 1 or 2 copies of the same chest, right? You go there, you want your Tempest Roar, yeah, maybe you find a Helm chest or 2, and that's it. And then what? You wait like another 3 hours for the next one. Like, you know? And then that Helm chest drops like 2 yellow helms. Yeah. Good luck. So, you know, there needs to be like some way to actually target farm something. Yeah, the most unique jobs are just like running admin dungeons, but it's like pure lottery, so it's just like too much RNG. Shira and Penitent, universally good. Condemnation for combo point builds. Shira's pretty decent. Rest to the vendor. Cowl, maybe for Death Trap. Also, like that, I guess. Any other uniques? Frostborn, Razor Plate, the pants, ring, weapon, amulet. Yeah. Have you been in the archives of Isalia or the Forlorn Hovel? Many default sites mention these places, but are not accessible to a typical player. Do they unlock when you reach level 100 or some other milestone? What is this link? Do not throw away these items. Moo spoilers. Bloody wooden shard, musty tome, metallic fragment. Metallic fragment also be known as a rare cube from Diablo 2. These are 3 items that need to be cleansed in the forest, statue, oxen fountain, and cat Badu to obtain a strange key to a secret cellar known as Forlorn Hovel. Seems to be also a 24-hour spawn time event for the secret cellar, which could mean that whatever drops in there must be rolled by the group party. Plus an additional undiscovered ritual must be performed to open a portal. I have not seen any of those items, or maybe I have. Are these quest items? Like, how do you even get them? If any of these items randomly drops. Okay, but I don't know anything about this, so might be cow level related, but I have not been keeping up with the recent developments. Nobody has found them, okay. You soon have very low drop rates. Okay. How do you feel about the current gold cost for endgame upgrading and the rarity of certain uniques? Gold costs for upgrading rolling items is great. I'd love for extracted aspects to sell for exactly as much as the cost of extracting to make inventory management easier and not feel bad for extracting something you might find a better version of. Some uniques are absolutely too rare. T1 uniques like Shaco, Doombringer, etc. Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. I mean, like, there's like 2 or 3 confirmed drops in the world, so at this point it's like way too few with like millions of players. So we'll see. I mean, it doesn't really have to be like that you find, you know, that everyone finds these, but if there's literally like not even a handful of them after like literally millions of hours, you know, I mean, that's crazy. So, now of course I did not get a Doombringer. And neither did anyone else in this chat who might claim that, I think. So, oh, hey, Khan, by the way. Yeah, if they were tradable, maybe, but even so, you know, like, we know Mage Bloods, we know Headhunters, right? Like, these items actually drop for some people, you know? But Shaco doesn't drop, man, and Doombringer doesn't drop. And, you know, like, it's crazy. This is like, it took literally like Mage Blood rarity and then, you know, added like 2 more zeros to the rarity, you know? This is actually insane. What's the best way to eat a döner in Germany, and what's the favorite German dish? Oh man, I don't like German cuisine too much, to be honest. I mean, there's like nice stuff, but nothing that really comes to mind right now, I gotta say. I mean, döner, if you don't know, döner is like kebab. It's like, you know, bread and then kebab meat and stuff like that. It's kind of nice. It's like the Turkish like döner shops everywhere. I like that. Bratwurst. Yeah. Knödel. Haxe. Nini is a big fan of Haxe. I like Döner. Schnitzel. Schnitzel is nice. It's like a very standard German dish, I guess. So you can maybe say that. That's fine. Döner shops are everywhere, and I like it. German dish, let's just say a good Schnitzel. It's great. Okay, I watched a bit of the chat of Sis, Crip, and Asmongold. He brought up a good point about how in a few seasons you think there's going to be more content. Other than Nightmare Dungeon pushing, there really isn't anything to do after 100. Curious as to what you'd like to see in terms of endgame content. I mean, they can do many things. They can do many things. More pinnacle bosses. Pinnacle dungeons of some sort. You know, think like PoE Labyrinth or so. I don't know, like other like scalable seasonal content that appears in Nightmare Dungeons. I mean, what else can you do? More endgame side content similar to Helltide. Lots of stuff, really. Excited to see more creative people go at it. Arenas. Arenas could be cool too. Wonder if I would ever do something like that. Pinnacle Elias. Uber Elias, man. He keeps coming back. Okay, we had SER here, we had this. Okay, hey wudijo. I've only watched a few of your videos so far. Who are some of your favorite content creators? And who you think is doing a great job along with me covering Diablo content right now? Would make a video on your channel covering some of these questions. Oof. I mean, I wrote this the other time. Like, I don't really watch anyone, so but there are tons of good creators out there. In general, I trust my max roll colleagues. Putting out good stuff. Let's go with that. Elias, final boss, fight his finger. The capstone dungeon was merely a setback for Elias. I mean, the capstone Elias is already a kind of beefed up man, but imagine an Uber version of that. That's gonna be fun. Always wondered, obviously don't game and work 24/7. What do I do for fun? Wait for the next time I stream. How about that? Nerd mode activated. You have a typical routine of first steps you follow when you begin to assemble your builds. Always love the idea of theory crafting, finding something on your own. I'll take you the furthest. I'm curious what that looks like. I mean, it's usually like I start with like an idea for a certain skill or around a certain unique. So it's either like some kind of build defining item that you start with, or you just like start and build around a certain main skill, right? So that's probably like what I'm doing. There are two starting points. A main skill, a build defining legendary unique. Then you start adding all of the must-have damage multipliers, and you try to scramble everything else in to build enough defense and utility. So that's basically how I do it. And it seems to work pretty well. That's always how I did it as well in D3 or in PoE or in D4 now. It's always like that. You have like one starting point, either a skill or an item, and you go from there basically. Seeing quite a few items of item power 666. Do you believe a full set of item power 666 could be a secret to anything in the game? If it was, what do you think that might be? Maybe Diablo appears in a Diablo game. How can you not go insane running Sniper Nuts over and over again? I have played a lot of D3. Okay. What nightmare affixes would you recommend to avoid for players playing hardcore? What are the most rippy ones? Death Pulse. And Resource Burn. I'd avoid these in general, to be honest. Cold Enchanted if you run without Elixir or a good unstoppable uptime. What do you like to do outside of video games? Well, we also talked about this a few times. Not too much, honestly. Also try to spend time outside or with my fiancée when I can. Okay, how did I start out making content for Diablo 3? Well, that's actually a bit of a long story. So I was blasting Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls. Like I was blasting D3 vanilla already back then. I was like kind of going ham with my Demon Hunter. I didn't play as much as I did these days. I also played other games. But I really liked D3 when it came out. And I was also going for like the hardcore Diablo Inferno kill and stuff. Unfortunately, I ripped on the way because one of my teammates I was farming goblins with told us to TP in too early, and I got one shot right after the loading screen. And then I kind of like left the game in the dust for like a month, and I came back. And I had a Storm Shield in my stash on hardcore, which back then was like the most valuable item in the entire game. And even a month later, I opened the auction house. There was not a single Storm Shield on the market. So I sold it. And I decked out my entire Demon Hunter with that. with like GG shit. And yeah, started blasting in hardcore. It was really cool. And then we actually managed to beat Inferno after the first round of nerfs, after Crypt had done it and stuff. In general, yeah, I was like always on the higher end, I guess, on D3. But then it really started with RS, where I was farming like Tom and 6 Rifts with my Demon Hunter, and almost no one was able to do that back then. I had like a really cool build, and my brother told me, hey, there's this platform, twitch.tv, you should check it out. And you can stream and people can watch you. And yeah, this is really cool what you're doing. Yeah, so I tried it out. I made an account. Apparently, when was that? 9 years and 1 month and 27 days ago. And I was streaming to like 2 people. And well, then came season 1 and we had the Yes Woo incident, where I was the first in the world to clear a Greater Rift 45 with a new build. And overnight I went to like 100 viewers average, and I had like my clear video with like 400,000 views. And yeah, this is where we started basically. And then I just kept going from there. And the only reason I started making YouTube content was because people kept coming to my chat and asking the same noob questions all day long. So I decided there must be a better way. So I started making YouTube guides. And here I am. And people still come in every day to ask the same questions. But yeah, what can you do? It didn't help. Oh well. But yeah, this is how I began. Yeah. Anyway, I was blasting on a high end from the start. When RS released, my brother told me, hey, you know, there's this website, Twitch, where you can let others watch, and what you're doing is really good. Maybe check it out. So I was streaming my random solo T6 Demon Hunter rifts to like 2 people and had some fun. Then came season 1 and the Yes Woo incident. The sub alert that plays on my stream and someone subscribes, where I cleared world first Greater Rift 45, a new build, and overnight I went to like 100 plus viewers average, and my clear video had like 400k views. Then people started asking all kinds of noob questions. No offense. In my chat. And I decided to start making guides for them, so I can blast in peace. The last part didn't work out too well. They still ask questions. So I make more videos. The end. Okay. In your opinion, what is the most fun thing Blizzard could add to the end game? For me, it's unique dungeons, bosses with difficult mechanics. Yeah. I think it's important to add content for all levels of play. I agree that the high-end definitely needs some love with extreme challenges. Lilith is a good start. We need more on that level. You want raids? No one is allowed to ask another question in chat. Nah, I'm just joking, guys. You know, it's fine that you ask questions. It's just like, yeah. Hey, Woody, what do you say to the news reports that you have absorbed Rob 2926, 2629, 2628, by the way? Similar to how they added to the other evils in the free and are planning to become the prime streamer. Is Rax or Riker safe? That was a great article. I wouldn't call AI articles news, though. I mean, if you haven't seen it, I made a video about it. There was like some AI written article. Really funny read. That confused a lot of things in a really funny way. What was it like to have 70k people stop playing the brand new games just to watch me on the Lilith attempt? And when I hit 100, yeah, that was pretty crazy. I didn't really pay attention to that because I was focusing on the game, so I didn't know that so many people were actually there. But afterwards I saw that. Yeah, it was pretty insane. What do you think is a small thing that devs can change to make the game significantly better? Opposite of mark as junk. Sell all button. I mean, gameplay-wise, what else could they do there? Search function, yeah, I think search function. Stash, it's mostly quality of life stuff. So, item filter is not a small thing, item filter is a big thing, so that's fine. But these are kind of small things, I think. Let me decide to take D4 so seriously after cheating in D3. The fact it's always online. I mean, D3 is also always online. Like, what is the difference exactly? Yeah, in case you didn't know, I got banned like almost a decade ago in D3 once. But I'm strongly opposed to cheating and botting and even like simple macros. I don't like even macros. Like I play completely without macros and all that. So I don't really know what to answer with this question, really. I just hope that Blizzard takes a really firm stance against all this kind of stuff very soon. So I guess you're gonna see the first ban waves even very soon. They were very slacking with that in D3 in the early days, and also sometimes in between. And even these days, some people are still not banned after like literally years of, you know, using all kinds of things. Although they have done some really big ban waves lately, so that's really cool. It's always enjoyable. First ban me. Yeah, right now there's no reason to ban me, so what did I do? Yeah, back in the early days in D3 RS, I mean, it still exists. There's like a kind of like a map hack tool, and back then that was like literally everywhere. So at least on the higher end, you know, I was playing pretty high end, and it was like a really tight knit community, and I felt really like peer pressured into using that because else basically no one would play with you. And yeah, I got banned eventually. And there was also like some auto hotkey macro I used for like a paragon swap, which was relatively minor, but I was like playing around with like some build that would otherwise not be feasible. I was like, you know, experimenting with builds and stuff like that. There was like a Shimizu build. I'm a big fan of Shimizu, if you know that item in D3 that gives you 100% crit chance when you're at low HP, and there was a way to like swap your paragons with a macro so that you have more vitality and then you're at low HP, and then you would have the Shimizu effect, which technically you could do a bit slower manually, but it was just faster with that, so I tried that out. And back in the early seasons, at some point they started banning for, I think it was mostly for the macro, so it seems like the map hack was not really ever banned, but yeah, after the ban I just like stopped using everything altogether, and I took like a really firm anti-cheating stance. And it has worked out really well. And it's also like part of the reason why I enjoy SSF so much. I've become a much more SSF player and just like not really give a fuck anymore about what other people do and, you know, if they cheat or not or whatever. So I just tried to do it my way, and that was like much more enjoyable, I gotta say. And that was only like for a few months or so anyway, back then. It was like in season 5, I believe, in Diablo 3, yeah. Super long ago. Yeah, but generally, yeah, generally, we don't like even macros, you know. I mean, I can kind of understand if people that have like maybe, you know, some issues with their hands or something like that, if they use like a macro for simple things, that's okay. But for the most part, you know, if there's any kind of like a competitive advantage, I don't want to have anything to do with that. Guys, I'm gonna answer the chat questions soon, okay? I think we're almost done here, so I'm gonna do like a few more answers here, and then we are probably ending it. We've been here for like 2 hours, almost 3 actually. So Bazooka macros aware, yeah, exactly. Man, it's like part of the reason why I never played Bazooka build. It was a really cool build, but without macros, like no way, basically. So a long-time follower, and they truly seem like a well-meaning, heartfelt guy. It's refreshing to see. Watch your climb to 100 on Twitch. I could tell you were genuinely amazed, shocked, and overwhelmed. Yeah, that's true. There's like wait, where's my answer? Did I not answer it? Did I press the wrong thing? Where did the answer go? What the fuck? Maybe this got deleted. Okay. Whatever, I guess. Anyway. Yeah, what else is here? No, you had to rush through the campaign while learning. Have you had a chance to catch up in the story? I know the story roughly. Still planning to do a slow playthrough to enjoy it fully. Overall, really cool. Don't have much more to say, I guess, on that. Think how level is accessible right now? Maybe Mubi. That would be a first. I got rich overnight and now I will spend some of the cash purchase B. I'm not a big spender at all, to be honest. Probably just saving up for a house. Slowly. I'm taking Nini out for dinner. Okay. I would agree that all future content editor games should always be soloable. Yes. I think having everything soloable is important in an RPG. They're usually played solo. Even a game like Diablo 4 is like mostly enjoyed solo, I think, for most people, so I don't really see a reason to make like any kind of like group-only content anyway. Like, why? For the past 6 months, we've seen a lot of MMO players who never played RPG demanding some forced co-op features. Forced co-op has no place in ARPGs. MMO. You can make cool bosses, have them be soloable anyway. I don't see the problem. The game doesn't have healers, tanks, etc. like WoW, for example. I will play soon, guys. We are finishing here. If they had progression past level 100, will you also bot in Diablo 4? Lol. Okay. What is the most important thing a hardcore player needs to know when leveling, and why is it to bind your scroll of escape? Halt. Okay. How do you as a rogue deal with Hoda barbs in PvP? Well, haven't done much. I haven't done any PvP yet today. We'll figure it out. I think raids will ever be added as endgame content. If they can be done solo, I see why not. Like a mega dungeon that has like multiple insane boss fights and you have to like progress your way through or something, you know, and it's like an hour or 2 hour event. I mean, that would be really awesome, I gotta say. It could even be something like, you know, like you can come back and like, you know, it's like a weekly reset. It could even be something like that, honestly. Like a real raid, and you can kind of, you know, go in and out and, you know, like progress further. That'll be really cool. Like capstone dungeon on crack. Yeah, exactly. Something like that. No ladies have been impressed with my softcore level 69 necker yet. What gives with that? I'll get out of this bone prison and into the bone zone. No. Wait for season 1. Get the world first. Easy clap. Okay. We'll be playing Path of Exile 2. Definitely excited to try it out, but most likely focusing more on D4. Daijovu. I don't know what to say there. I think about the addition in season 1 to being able to teleport directly to Nightmare Dungeon. We answered that. How to complete teleportation without losing sanity. I guess he's talking about Renown. I mean, is Renown really that bad, guys? It's like a, I don't know, 20-hour grind that you do while leveling anyway. No, yes. Yeah, it seems like Renown has a very mixed feelings. I think what they could do is just like, you know, add some sources of Renown that are, you know, a bit more like in the regular gameplay flow, maybe. You know, like you do a side event here, you get some Renown. You know, you just grind Renown. Maybe after like, you know, X kills, you get a bit of Renown. Just like it slowly stacks up maybe, but you can fast forward it with doing the one-time completions. That could be something. But yeah, if people really don't want to do Renown, I can kind of support it. Personally, I like it though. Okay, in my opinion, what's the best thing about D4? We've answered most of these things. What's the best thing and worst thing? What aspects needs either tuning or fix? What aspect of the game should future ARPGs learn from? Yeah, we answered all of this stuff already. Yeah, I think we're actually almost done here. There's like not really much more. We ever stay a while and listen? Bring back Deckard Cain. How did it feel to die after all that work? We go again. Okay. I'm hyped for the release of Pikmin 4. What is that? What was my Hunter character? What was its build? Death Trap. Twisting. Blades Rogue. Haven't done much PvP, but excited to try it out soon. What will I eat to celebrate? Choc cookie. What will be the ideal first class added to the game? Cleric. Holy caster. I know a lot of people want Paladin, but I think we have a massive amount of melee builds already. But like something more ranged. I'll answer the other games and stuff somewhere else. Anything else? Overall thoughts on Diablo? What are predictions? How do you feel about other classes? Compare and stack up in endgame. We've also talked about that. Last time I touched grass, that was a while ago. Okay, maybe we can say this here. What's banned? Wait, actually, do we have that here? It wasn't for botting, by the way. At least here I can copy paste my message. I had to copy paste it still. Okay. Okay, here's one last question. Let's do one last question from this guy. I think I heard the Maxo team gets together and hashes out a tier list as a group. I assume that requires a lot of in-depth discussion about how the classes and builds compare and their strengths and weaknesses. I think a lot of us would be interested in hearing that discussion. Would you and the Maxo team consider live streaming that? So yeah, sorry, but we don't stream the meetings. There's usually a lot of stuff going on that has no place in public. But we may do some podcasts with the boys to discuss all kinds of topics, including meta and balance. What is the biggest thing holding Sorks back right now? Sorks are generally fine on the high end. They just need a lot of tools to come online in late game. Maybe they could benefit from options that don't rely on crowd controls to deal good damage. Okay. Podcast will be the most listened thing on D4. Yeah, I was thinking about making one. It was really fun last time with Asmongold and Sis and Crip. And maybe we're gonna do something. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it here now. We answered like almost everything, so it's like a few like repetitive questions now. 199 more. But yeah, we've been at it for a while. I think this is enough, guys. Collecting stuff for Renown was annoying because the horse gets stuck often while collecting them. But otherwise, Renown is good. They should fix the horse. Yeah, the horse is definitely something they could fix. Okay, so let me edit this here so that we that I didn't know that this is over. So where's the edit button? Wait, can I edit it? Ah, here. All right. Edit 2. That's like 6 MCT. Just finished answering tons of questions. It was fun. I was also live streaming it and discussing some things there. You can find it on my Twitch VODs. It's very enjoyable. Thanks for all the nice comments, I say, as well from everyone. Okay. That was great. I haven't really done anything like this. I mean, I've done like 50 questions or something. I mean, I had like 50,000 subscribers. I did like a 50 questions video on YouTube, but I haven't done anything like this, like a live AMA. Didn't expect I would, honestly. So That was a kind of interesting event here. So in case you weren't here earlier when it started, so they reached out to me like, I don't know, like a week or two back. And they were setting this up basically. They wanted to have this, you know, like with me. And I mean, might be interesting for people to learn. People ask so many questions, I had to make an AMA. Yeah. And now the questions will continue in chat. Yeah, guys, I know that I have not really been paying attention to the chat too much the last 3 hours. I've just been trying to catch some things here and there. And if you have like any game-related questions and stuff, then, you know, feel free to ask them again now. How did I get to join Maxroll? Well, I was basically like a relatively obvious choice, I guess, at that time, because Maxroll started with D3, and I was like one of the biggest D3 guys out there. And I was also, you know, quite close with like SVR and Rob and all that, like the people that initiated Maxroll to begin with. So yeah, that's how we got started. Anyway, let's close this stuff. Lots of links here. Okay. For unlimited wings. Okay, I really have to get up 1 second though. Game time. Yeah, it's time to blast, guys.